SINIS has sort of now almost hit its 12-month mark. It's been a very quick 12 months for us in terms of actually being fully operational in our facility, but obviously then being able to provide those services and programs to each of the federations. So within that 12 months, we've obviously had significant growth. We're up around 450 athletes and coaches visiting the facility here every day. We do operate 87 hours a week. We have approximately 140 sessions of different sports here throughout the week. We're still, as staff, we're about 72 full-time staff here and about 30 casual and interns that work within the program. Proudly, 50% of our staff here are females, which we're really excited to be able to support a safe work environment for our female staff. As a program, currently we are supporting around 850 athletes per week through the different sports of the Pacific Games. We do actually support a couple of the federations that aren't competing at the Pacific Games, as they also have programs that where athletes are competing internationally as well. So we do support those other federations. Part of our work obviously is continuing to support the planning that's happening with Team Solomon. So recently we held some positive discussions with NOXI president, particularly focused around the general management team and the support that they'll be looking for from us in our performance services during the games. Those services are basically an extension of what we already do every day now within SINIS, so that we're providing that continuity of the athletes supported by our staff on a regular basis now, but also then during the games. So what we call that is, I guess, that transference of what we do in the daily training environment to then the daily competition environment. And where we can provide that continuity for the athletes, it's really important that those existing relationships are continued. The athletes are familiar with those staff, and I think that's really helpful for us coming into the games. There's obviously a lot of questions that we do take from people in the community about how the athletes are tracking and how do we look in terms of an overall, performance. In general, just a couple of things that we are supporting. Obviously, we do provide all free facilities and equipment here for the federations. We obviously provide a range of programs and services from the strength and conditioning, physio, nutrition, mental skills, talent ID, coach development, and our wellbeing program. All those services are free of charge to the athletes that are in the national squad. And we extend those services now into other areas such as our food packs, which we provide for athletes after training. We're looking into some services now around transport for the athletes. We provide them with uniforms and shoes so that they're able to train. So there's a significant investment the government's making just in those regular services. One of the things that we're doing that the performance managers will extend on is that a couple of weeks ago we announced to the National Federations our Pathway to Podium program, which is additional funding above and beyond those day-to-day services, which primarily focus around engaging coaching expertise. So where the Federation has identified that their desire is to identify a coach from overseas to provide some mentorship and expertise to their program, we will support that. And also too, we're identified 2 international competitions as a minimum this year for each of the federations that we support them to attend. SINIS itself is responsible for the financial contribution of that through the government. So we cover everything from the visa applications, flights, accommodation, meals, and competition fees, transport on the ground. So everything related to the actual competition or the trip, we support. The national federations are responsible ultimately for the playing uniform that the athletes wear during competition, and the athletes themselves are responsible for having a passport. So to support those costs of the passport, we actually started a fundraising program for the athletes last week, which supports them in being able to raise the $1,000 that they need to pay for their passport. Thank you to the support of the Immigration Department. We now have a streamlined process where we can fast track the passport process. We know that it is a difficult process sometimes, but through the support of the government and different ministries working together, we've been able to fast track that process. So for us, we know that the burden financially to send teams overseas is very difficult for the federations. But as a program, the Pathway to Podium program is there to support them in those endeavours to get to international competitions, as well as then engaging some coaching expertise.
Me, Moses Noma, we look after combat and weight sports. 7 fast sport we look after, bodybuilding, boxing, karate, taekwondo, judo, powerlifting and weightlifting. So these are the 7 sports we look after, and everyone look at that already back to training. Everyone start training in number 3 and number 4 last month. So while some fellow staff are holiday, most of the teams have come back for training. Preparation to everyone have access to every services where inside the here. Physio, every services. Also, priorities on Mifagaran last month and this month is Mifa doing reviews na lo team list. Mifa doing reviews lo team list, and as well as Mifa help them order to for sort of come up now with an events calendar block for this year. So calendars blockata done already, list blockata we will still do ongoing reviews with them and help them on the teams to for scouting of talents. Now with them pathway to podium, we sort of once one for national federation and completing events calendar plan, then we first assign off for him for try and help them for identify what now the events will like for him. So that one, some of the sports that we forgot, I think would already start with them. I think one of the groups plans will be early next week or sometimes around this week or should go. But that's the same support that we forgot for every team. One of the things where February we first start off with them is we forgot one sort of routine where we feel like for giving a lot of teams here is what we call them green versus blue. And then one for sort of in-house competition type activity for Qatar. And out of 7 for teams when we look after, I think for the month of February, 5 for actually doing in-house competition. And then one for something when we feel like we encourage them to forget them every month. So while there's no big competition early this year, but what I got some sort of competition routine where what's able to start with, able to help them out to get them experience with them. Base law support for the coaches and staff also. We got 11 fella combat and weight sports, got 11 fella coaches on scholarship, who are just completing cohort number 2. And they were the ones really supporting the teams when we forgot them inside the DTE, which is the daily training environment. Haven't been in Otana actually come in and sort of doing overall side of coaching and stuff, but Ota actually helped them, the ones where Federation actually I am Ota for look after Ota teams inside the here. I think next week and the following week, Mifa should be able to hear it back from what federations when Mifa look after. That Ota come up with the team managers and other coaches and other important roles within team organization there, because I think what Mifa really like for to come up daily with them is we wanted to have people around the athletes here, same people that actually stay with them on the boxing competition. So most of the federation actually give come and feedback, what are really happy, and as of next week or the following week, they should put up articles on newspaper for confirming the head coaches what the government and team manager.
Name Amanda and I'm performance manager of portfolio 2, which is team sports. We look after 8 fala team sports currently. We look after basketball, beach, volleyball, indoor, netball, hockey, touch rugby, football, and sevens. Only rugby league now, we still wait of no sign in MOU yet, but of the sports we look after and just from what Moses talent finish full month January and February, we are doing review with him of federation about what happened last year and where we need to go this year for towards games. Yeah? So stakalo team sports this year out no garen competition and staka sports ota garen ota regular competition every week, but some sport lumino ota team sports no garen any competition na. So as Moses mentioned, green versus blue, yeah, him help him na ota sports and athletes for garen competition because daily training environment him good. Ota come to train, come gym, doing skills technical, but time you competition level I'm different to your mindset and how to act. So green versus blue I'm in-house. Sometimes ota play depending on numbers of squad, play with each other. Some for in-house, don't invite him nara squad or nara club blow, depending on the sport. Club from outside na for come play with him ota. And low days me for doing green versus blue, yeah. Me for talent athletes and even ota coaches too. Coaches on scholarship responsible for look after specific sports. For must treat him there or some real competition na athletes me for talent ota arrive early, come looking physio. That way. Apart from training, ota start getting the routine of okay, this one a competition because staka athlete but first time blota for compete international or kind of level blo Pacific Games. And on top of that, we are very thankful now complementary support, which is the pathway to podium. Yeah? So on top of services we are providing, staka athletes are not exposed to international competition. Oh yes, imi garam Solomon Games, imi garam ota regular competition lo here, but staka no garam na experience or exposure for compete outside. So we are very thankful to us that government giving us support for each sport. Pagaram 2 for trips, that's a lot. And as Aaron mentioned, finish all federation need to do is help with him uniform number and passport. The rest, everything paid for now. And we also like Adna or international trips. Bamfa send them out athlete go, but send them to other coaches. So I'm not me for like for the federation or right now me for PMs waka for federation identify who ba coach, who na team manager for time me for send them out go, other athlete get them feeling of okay, competition or same coach Lumina hemia and also through relationship between Oceania and NFs, we get them to some support blow for mentors overseas. But on top of that, first trip blow team sports lo April, but for fala sport na go. So right now, we just try for get them out prepared, more green versus blue, because that will get them competition before going outside.